Long ago, in a land where the rivers ran rich with gold and the skies watched over sprawling cities, there ruled a man named Nimrod. He was not born to power, but he seized it with ambition so fierce that the world around him bent in obedience. His kingdom flourished, his armies marched like thunder, and his people spoke of him with both fear and awe. Nimrod was not just a king, he believed himself to be a god. He built monuments that touched the sky and declared himself the ruler of not only the earth, but of the heavens. In his courts, no other name was to be praised but his. If someone dared speak of a power greater than Nimrod, they were met with punishment, sometimes silence, sometimes fire. His pride knew no bounds, and he proclaimed with a thundering voice that it was he who gave life and death. He did not see his throne as a gift, but as a throne earned by divine right, his own. But in the same land, among shepherds and stargazers, a child was born who would one day stand against him, not with armies, but with truth. His name was Abraham. From a young age, Abraham was different. He asked questions no one else dared to ask. Why do we bow to idols made of stone? Why do we offer prayers to things that cannot hear or see? When the sun rose in all its glory, Abraham wondered if it might be God. But then the sun set. The moon followed with its gentle light. And again he wondered. But the moon too disappeared. Stars glittered, then vanished. And Abraham came to a realization. None of these celestial bodies were gods. There had to be something more, someone who never faded, never disappeared, someone who created all of this. And so, Abraham found his faith, not in the created things, but in the Creator. He believed in one unseen God, a power beyond comprehension, who ruled all things with wisdom and justice. This belief, innocent yet dangerous, eventually reached the ears of Nimrod. The great king, amused at first, summoned Abraham to his court. The grand palace of Nimrod glittered with gold and echoed with whispers of fear. Abraham, calm and composed, walked into the chamber, a lone man before a king who believed himself divine. Nimrod asked, "Who is your lord, O Abraham?" And Abraham replied, "My Lord is the one who gives life and causes death." Nimrod smirked and motioned toward two prisoners. He ordered one to be executed and the other to be set free. Turning back to Abraham, he said, "I too give life and death. Look, I spared one and killed the other." Abraham looked him in the eye, undeterred. "Then bring the sun from the west if you are truly God." The king fell silent. His words had always ruled over others, but now a simple sentence, soft but firm, had struck a blow to his illusion. He could not answer. He could not bring the sun from the west. His godhood trembled before truth. Humiliated but enraged, Nimrod decided to destroy this challenge to his authority. He ordered a massive fire to be built, one that would consume the man who dared question his rule. The people were ordered to collect wood, and soon a fire so enormous was lit that even birds flying above were scorched by its heat. No one could go near it. It was decided that Abraham would be thrown into the flames using a massive catapult. As Abraham was tied and brought to the edge, the air around him was thick with smoke, heat, and fear. Yet his heart remained calm. He did not scream or plead. His lips moved in silent prayer, and his eyes held the peace of one who knew the truth. The catapult launched him into the fire. But in that moment, something divine occurred. The flames, which danced wildly moments ago, calmed. They wrapped around Abraham like a cool breeze. The fire obeyed a command greater than Nimrod's. A voice, heard not by all but written in the folds of time, had spoken, "O fire, be cool and peaceful for Abraham." The people watched in disbelief. Minutes passed, and Abraham stood in the heart of the fire, untouched, unharmed. Nimrod's power had failed. The fire had betrayed him. A king who claimed divinity had been defied by the very elements he thought he ruled. Still, Nimrod did not yield. His heart hardened like stone. Instead of reflecting, he grew more furious. He believed that Abraham had tricked the fire somehow or used magic. But deep down, he feared something he could not name. So he resolved to go further. If Abraham's God was in the heavens, Nimrod would invade the skies. He ordered the construction of a massive tower, one that would pierce the clouds. Day and night, laborers worked. The tower grew, brick upon brick, reaching for the heavens. When it stood tall and proud, Nimrod climbed to the top, took his bow and arrows, and shot them into the sky. One arrow returned stained with blood, perhaps by chance, perhaps painted by deceit. Nimrod laughed. He declared victory over the God of Abraham. His arrogance was complete. But the story did not end there. Nimrod's madness invited his fall, and it came from where he least expected. Not an army, not a rebellion, not even a prophet's curse. It came in the form of a creature so small that the eye barely noticed it. A single mosquito. As Nimrod stood in his palace, issuing commands and admiring his imagined greatness, the tiny insect entered his nostril and crept upward into his brain. And there it remained. The mighty king who challenged God was brought to his knees by a creature he had never feared. His head throbbed with unbearable pain. He screamed, he cried, he begged. He struck his head against walls, against marble pillars, but the pain would not stop. Soon the once mighty ruler was reduced to a broken man. He could only find brief relief when his servants struck his head with slippers. The king, who had worn crowns of gold, now begged for beatings, just to lessen the agony. His palace became a prison, his pride a punishment. Day after day, the pain grew worse. His kingdom, once vast and feared, began to crumble. People whispered of his madness. His advisors abandoned him. His soldiers grew disloyal. And in time, Nimrod died. Not in battle, not in glory, but alone, tormented by a mosquito, swallowed by the silence of defeat. No monuments were enough to save his name. No tower stood as proof of his victory. The earth took his body, and history took his pride. And Abraham? The man once hurled into fire walked freely. His name was lifted, his message preserved. His journey continued, across deserts, across generations. He would become the ancestor of nations, the patriarch of prophets, the symbol of unshakable faith. The story of Nimrod is not merely a tale of one man's arrogance, but a lesson etched into the conscience of time. That no matter how powerful a human becomes, no matter how high a throne may rise, it is always beneath the sky. And the sky belongs to one alone, who needs neither towers to reach nor armies to rule. The unseen power that saved Abraham, silenced fire, and humbled a king with a whisper of wings, remains forever above all kings. For those who read the tale centuries later, it reminds them not only of divine justice, but of human limits. That faith does not always roar in temples or courts. It sometimes whispers in the heart of a single man standing before a king. And when truth stands firm, not even the fiercest fire can consume it. Thus ends the story of Nimrod, not in triumph, but in dust. Not as a god, but as a man brought low by the very world he thought he ruled.